Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News, and right now I am joined by Bubba Jenkins. How's it going, Bubba?
What's going on, man? I'm good, man. Doing my little Batman things, hanging out here in Vegas, a little beautiful sunshine, getting ready to start this camp.
Absolutely, man. And just kind of take me first off, a few weeks after your last win over Ryoji Kudo, obviously first round win. Got to feel good about that. Kind of take me back to those moments right after the fight. How would you reflect on your performance overall?
Man, I was on 1,000. I felt like I was on cloud nine. I felt like I had the power of the world in my hands. I just felt really, really strong. I felt really, really confident. I went in and got the job done in a spectacular fashion with, what I said, kind of what would happen if he, I was telling people if he wasn't, the ground guy that he needed to be, that I would, steamroll him. And, that's exactly what happened. So I was really, really confident and really, really excited about, being in the finals for the PFL.
Did anything about his approach surprise you at all? Because you mentioned how, obviously the route to victory for him would probably be to defend the takedowns and really get going on the feet. But did anything about him surprise you at all?
No, I mean, everyone's going to have to defend the takedown, but it's the ability to actually be able to do it. I'm a national world champion in wrestling, so the game plan is going to be to stop the takedown, but the game plan is to stop Tom Brady from throwing touchdown passes, but it happens every weekend, so it's nothing surprised me about his approach because he tried to do what he could do, and the result was the result. So we're just gonna go in, be the wrestler we are, be the bad man we are. It's me versus me in there. So I really didn't. Not that I didn't expect anything from Kudo, but I was really focusing on the things that I could do and the things that I'm really good at. I never really go into a fight focusing on the things that they, could do to me. I think that's just the wrong frame of lens to look at it, though.
I was about to say, because I've talked to a lot of fighters who kind of take that approach in terms of just focusing on themselves and what they can control. Do you find that is kind of the better way to prepare and not so much focusing on, your opponent or the specific opponent, but more focusing on developing your own skills?
100%, because I truly mean it when I'm at the best, when I'm focused on the things that I need to focus on, and I'm doing the things that I need to do, that Dewey tells me to do, the Black Cobra. When I'm on firing on all little cylinders, there's not many people in the world that can beat me. The best person to beat me is myself. And when I focus on the things that I'm doing, my weaknesses, the things that I'm good at, getting to those positions, staying in control, being strong, having a good gas tank, things that I can control, those are the things that I'm going to be great at. Those are the things that are going to be my keys to victory. So that's what I focus on, truly.
Absolutely, man. And obviously we got to look forward to what's next. You got this big matchup with Brendan Loughnane in November. It seems like you guys have a lot of mutual respect for each other. Is that kind of a relief for you, especially in this current climate, where we have a lot of trash talkers and sometimes animosity gets really personal? How nice is it to be able to just put all that aside, just focused on the competitive aspect of the fight?
Well, it's a Bubba J, Brendan Loughnane fight. There's definitely still going to be some trash talking going down. We've been talking trash to each other for 2 years now, and everybody wanted to see that fight last year. And the only reason why people wanted to see the fight with me and Wade is because of the loss, or the only reason why people want to see the fight with him and Wade is because of what grew in this year. But for the PFL's view, for real fighters' views, for real fans' view, everybody's been wanting to see the Brendan Loughnane versus Bubba Jenkins fight, and here we are. You know what I mean? So it's 2 years into a culmination, and it's the grand stage, it's the biggest stage of MMA. It's ESPN. I'm not sure yet where it's going to be, whether Vegas, whether New York, wherever it's going to be. It's going to be, a championship night. And I'm excited for what the fans get to see. I'm excited for all the efforts and all the camps that are going to be put together to make that night the championship $1 million night for each of their camps. There's only going to be, only half of us that night are going to walk away with that $1 million, but the rest of them are going to walk away disappointed. And, I'm excited for the preparation. I'm excited for the culmination of what that could be and what that means for not only my career, but for my family, my fans, getting to this moment, getting to this point is a big, like, we've waited and we've watched and we've known that, you're capable of being here. Now we're here. And it's just like, everybody's got their toes and fingers crossed, butts clenched. And, it's going to be a very anxious moment for a lot of people involved. But, I'm excited of not only about my opponent, but, everything leading into it. Like you said, there is a slight relief, but there will be some trash talking. I'm fighting, what I would say is as a comrade, a fellow warrior, a fellow wolf in the hunt that I'm on, but at the end of the day, there's a million reasons why I want to take his head off.
I want to take you back just briefly to the playoffs. Do you feel that your matchup with Ryoji Kudo was almost overlooked by a lot of people? Because obviously, as you mentioned, there was a lot of bad blood and trash talk between Chris Way and Brendan Loughnane and a lot of media attention. Do you feel that you were kind of overlooked, and did that give you any extra motivation to go out there and put on a show?
I'm sorry, I live by an airport, so you're going to hear all these airplanes and things like that. But no, man, I think that I'm overlooked in general. There's often times, that I get put on the main card, but when it starts, I'm on the prelim or I'm on, the undercard of the, I'm on the what is it, the fight pass or something like that. I'm not sure what the world or what fighters or what they're looking for. I'm one of the most well-spoken and most entertaining speakers that MMA has to offer. I will talk trash with the best of them. I speak about my beliefs with the best of them. I speak about the things that I'm capable of. I walk the thin line of cockiness and confident. I'm well aware of my abilities. I'm very understanding of who I am, and the confidence that I exude, it speaks through the screen. So putting me on the screen or putting a mic in front of me is a no-brainer. So the fact that I haven't had many of those opportunities, or when I do get them, I do go viral. It's like, it makes sense. I feel like in general, I'm overlooked. I should have way more followers than I do, just on the aspect of, me being entertaining, me being a funny guy, me being just an everyday American. I'm living the American dream. I'm fighting. I'm a father. I went to college. I graduated. I'm fighting off the debts. I'm fighting for life. I'm fighting, I'm doing exactly what every American wants to be doing and trying to do on one of the grandest stages in one of the toughest sports at one of the hardest livings there is to do. And, I'm constantly trying to find out why we're not on the main screen, why we're not on the posters, why we're not in front of the mic, why we're not doing our own thing. So here shortly, once I'm validated as a world champion, once they crown me as an uncrowned king, I'm going to just do my own thing and make people follow that.
One thing that's really stood out to me about you specifically this year is that it really seems like you're really just enjoying the entire process of a fight week and a season and all that. I mean, you can just sense the joy that you have. Do you feel that that's been a big difference for you this season as opposed to last season?
This season as opposed to any season, I'm in love with the fight game because, it's almost like, when the fight game isn't giving you back with the work you've put into it, knowing some of the pay that people get, some of the pay that some of these fighters get, when you have the opportunity to fight for $1 million, you're actually getting paid what you're worth in a sense. Yeah, the opportunity, not only do we get paid in other fights, but the opportunity to change your life with that type of bonus every year. The PFL is an amazing organization. It's a sport like every big major sport. The league has changed. The mixed martial arts battlefield has changed in so many different ways that I feel like this is one of the most successful routes to go to having a world champion every year, to having a tournament, to having finances, to having that mainstream and that platform being on ESPN. I'm falling in love with the sport because the sport is finally at with years in it, me being at the age that I'm in, is finally giving back what the work that I've been putting in is finally giving me that platform. And with me just saying that I've been overlooked, the sport of MMA is finally giving me what I've been working for. The fans and the eyes and the screens and the TVs, I feel like I'm getting overlooked, but the sport itself, the love of the sport, the victories, the championships, the things that I'm gaining from working hard from years on end is finally coming to culmination. And I'm excited about it. And I guess the joy, like I said, is jumping off the screen and jumping through me. The celebrations at the end of the fights, the laughing during the fights, the having a good time. I'm just one of those guys that like to be in combat because combat is where I live. I like to be at war because I'm a fucking warrior.
What do you feel like differentiates how the PFL handles the fighter pay issue compared to other promotions? Because I feel like obviously with the $1 million cash prize and everything that comes with it, it seems like the PFL is kind of leading the way to make life a little easier and a little bit better for fighters. What do you feel like needs to be done to increase fighter pay and bring more awareness to that issue across the sport?
Man, I mean, I personally have tried to create my own app and my own things. I used to have a thing called Tip a Fighter. Fighters used to know, and I still own it. I'm going to bring it back later in life. But I was thinking of a ways for the crowd to help tip. You tip the bartender, you tip the waitress, you tip the taxi driver on the way there. But then when you get to the fights, and some of these guys are fighting, and the loser only gets half his check, and then he's got to pay his camp, and then he's got to pay for the injuries that he took or sustained during the camp or during the fight. But we don't tip those guys who probably won the fight, but the ref said they lost, and everybody in the crowd thinks they've won. Tip a Fighter was a platform where you can tip the fighter exactly what you feel he needed, or you won. Holly Holmes knocked out Ronda Rousey that night, and everybody and their mom won $10,000. You could have tipped her, $500. 1,000 people tip her $500. You changed her night, drastically by just showing your love for them. That was something that I was trying to create, and that's something that I still have in my pocket. That's something that I've always been, very strong on is fighter pay. Jake Paul saying the things that he's saying, or Logan Paul. I mean, the Paul brothers doing what they're doing, and even Silva having to fight one of these young guys in his age. I think he should already be in his prime and doing all other things. I can see the Mayweather effect and doing things like that, and he's already, paved the way for many of us in MMA. But fighter pay has to change drastically. We just constantly continue to talk about it. PFL, like you said, is leading the way. They are paying us very well, and we're in a season that's very tough. We fight every 8 weeks until it comes to the championship. You got to make the playoffs. There's a lot of things that go into, that, but it has to continue to be talked about. It has to continue to be brought up, and we fighters have to continue to stick together on that topic and know that, yeah, there are only a small percentage of us that are really getting paid, but I'm still talking about, even after I win $1 million, I'm still going to be talking about fighter pay. I'm still, no matter how many times I run back and reign as the champion in this organization, I'm still going to be talking for my brother and carrying that burden of, knowing that we as fighters need to be paid way more.
Absolutely, man. And talk to me a little bit about the time off. Obviously, it's got to be a little unusual to not have that quick turnaround in between fights, but how nice is it to have that extra time off to be with your family, your kids, and all that?
Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. I get those days when I'm training and I got to wake up and I got to train, and I got to grind, and I don't really get to hang out with them as much, or I'm not as happy or as pleasant at the park, or I'm not as into it as I usually am, just because of the fight camps and things like that. But when you finally get that break and you know that you're fighting for $1 million, you know that the season's over for everybody else but you and another fighter, or you and another warrior. You stood tall, the last man standing kind of thing, but you finally get that breath of air where you get to recover from the injuries. I walked into the next fight having injuries from the last fight, black eyes from the last fight, still walking in to the next camp. So it's refreshing. My body is finally rejuvenating. Coach is telling me I'm hitting with a lot more power. We're working on things to just get better, and not working on so much the opponent as we would have to do in the camp. We'd already be getting our opponent, we'd already be getting ready for our weight cut and things like that. So it's finally just a little bit of a break. Me being in Vegas, LA's right there, Arizona, my backyard of where I went to school at. You get to be able to go visit some friends and see some things and do some things. But the work is still not done. Them soon know we still chopping wood. We're still focused on what comes in November. But there is a sense of we made it. We relieved. Let's heal up. Let's lock in. Let's eat a couple days of ice cream. Let's put a little extra cheese on this, and then get right back to the recipe that was the reason why we're at the seat that we're at.
Definitely, man. And last question for me, Bubba. What's your message to PFL fans, and what can they expect in November?
Message to PFL fans, man. Make sure y'all keep watching the bad man. I'm doing exciting things inside and outside the cage. You know, I got so much going on. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a bad man when it comes to trying to make the next thing happen for my family, next thing happen for me. Social media wise, we're about to make an uptick. You know, I'm an uncrowned king. So the moment that I become a world champion, y'all gonna see world champion product, content, all that being put out, world champion merch, all that. So just keep watching your boy, because, you know, I'm about to be a star and y'all want to be there before I hit that rocket.
Absolutely, man. And before we wrap things up, I'll give you the final word to shout out any sponsors you have, your team, teammates, all that good stuff. I know you're trying to get that follower count up too, so feel free to shout out your social media.
Yeah, shout out Ali, shout out Dominance, man. Ali Abdelaziz, best agent in the game. Shout out Dominance, all my boys over there, boys and girls, because we got a squad. Shout out to Bubba Jenkins _ MMA or Bubba _ Jenkins. Everything on social media is Bubba Jenkins, so you can just find me. I'm not hard to find. I ain't, you know, I'm not ducking or hiding. I'm trying to get every interview out there. Like you said, click the follow button, baby. We out here. We trying to do something.
Absolutely, man. Well, Bubba, it's always great chatting with you. All the best with these next few weeks of camp and all that stuff. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate that, man. We'll see you next time.